Hey, good morning everybody. Matt Zerby here with Wasco Nursery, coming to you live from the Garden Center on an absolutely beautiful Saturday morning, the first Saturday of May 2025, and it is cool out this morning, which I think is lovely. I would say this is maybe one of the first springs in, honestly, as long as I can remember, where we've had consistently, I would just say, more mild temperatures. Yeah, we had a day, I think, a week and a half ago or a week ago where it was 80. But overall, this spring has just been, I would say, pretty remarkably or unremarkably mild. Just really, really nice. The flowering trees look incredible this year. Our crab apples at home, and as I drive to work, the red buds that are just natively growing in the woods and things. I mean, just really, really beautiful flowering this year. And longer bloom time. You know, we're not having those hot, windy days that just knock all the flowers off the trees. So really nice, and a lot of plant material blooming all at the same time. The magnolias just finished or are still holding on to a few blossoms. The crab apples are in full bloom. The red buds are in full bloom. Rhododendron and azaleas are blooming. So just really a pretty time of year. We've got a ton of beautiful plant material that we could talk about. But today I wanted to talk in the greenhouse, so we're going to make our way in there because it is the first Saturday in May. We're just about to hit annual and vegetable season, so I thought I'd show you some of the great stuff that we've got going on in the greenhouse today. But the blooming perennials are looking great. The blooming annuals and house flowers, tropicals, all that kind of stuff looking really fantastic this year. So first, I'm going to stop right over here. This is something that we've been doing for a little while, and now Proven Winners has come out with something called a 30-second planter, where this has multiple plants all in the same container here. It's in a shallow little pot, and the goal with this is just to take this plastic pot off. You're going to have a nice rooted, heavily rooted root mass. It's not just going to fall apart when you take this off. And so you're just going to plant this whole thing without the pot into your poolside container or the patio urn that you have, whatever it is. So you just plant that whole thing right in there and you're done. So it literally, you have an entire planter done in 30 seconds. There's all different combinations. So this one has a little pennisetum or fountain grass, a little white-edged fountain grass in it. It's got some petunias. It's got a yellow sedum, a little white scaevola down inside there. And so very cool concept. We've been doing them for a long time. We call them drop-ins, and we have some of those around the garden center. I'll show you one. There's actually one right here, fortunately. So we do the same thing in this paper pulp pot. So this is recycled paper and recycled wood products that they turn into these pots. They are biodegradable. The roots, actually, there's already roots growing out the bottom down here, but this whole thing can just be set in your potting soil. You don't even have to take it out of the pot. So you can just set this right into your pot. If your pot is wider, then you just fill it the rest of the way with potting mix, and you're all done. So we've been doing those. I really like that. It makes it nice and easy. And of course, we have larger pots of flowers that are ready to go if you just want something you can just sit right on your porch or patio. So we've got some new, I'll show you some of the other colors in a moment, but we've got a couple of new Mandevilla vines that I'm kind of excited about. This is one right here called Fired Up, and it's a kind of a, I'd call it a breakthrough in color. This came from Monrovia growers, and this has been crazy popular this year so far, even though we're fairly early on in the tropical plant selling season. We've already sold out of these once, and this is our second batch, so very cool. I'll show you another color in a minute. I think it's in the other greenhouse, called Bluphoria, which is a real breakthrough in breeding efforts on these. If you've never done Mandevilla before, they're a tropical vine. They'll grow on a trellis, or a little plant support of some kind, or they'll grow, if you have them on like a hanging basket hook or something, they'll kind of grab onto the basket wires and grow. So they bloom like crazy, very tropical look, bloom all the way until frost. So they're always kind of fun. shrimp plant. This is a plant called Justicia. It's just a really, honestly, it's just got this really weird flower. So you've got these showy petals on the outside. They're called bracts, which kind of, I guess, look like a shrimp, which it kind of makes sense why they call it shrimp plant. And then that's the actual flower. This one's actually looks like it's about done, so we'll just pull it off. So you can kind of see that little, that's the actual flower part there. The rest of the shrimp is really just an attractor. They're bracts or showy flowers, some people call them. So cool plant. They do this all summer long. I don't know if I'd necessarily call it a novelty. It is a pretty novel plant, but they bloom all summer long. A lot of people really like those. They're tough to come by and oftentimes fairly small when we get them in. And this year we've got a pretty nice crop of them, so I thought we would stop and look at those. Since we're having a cooler spring so far, as I was mentioning before, I thought I would stop right here and just look at the African daisies or osteospermum. These are incredibly cold tolerant plants. So they will tolerate even like low to mid 30s. So these are safe to plant outside right now. I'd say most plant material is probably safe to plant right now. We're looking at, I think, 39 degrees here tonight, which is a little on the chilly side. And if you've got house plants outside, if you've got tropical flowers, annuals, things like that, veggies, you may want to cover them because 39 is probably fine for most things. But if it dips down to 37 or 35, something like that, that would not be good for a lot of plant material. If you've got really tender things, basil, peppers, that kind of stuff, you definitely don't want that stuff outside really below 50 degrees. So, but something like an African daisy or a pansy or even petunias, those can tolerate those cold temps just fine. So they're going to be perfectly fine with the weather that we're having right now. I want to turn your attention to a plant that this guy needs a little cleanup here. He's got a big dead flower on him. But this is a vining plant called Dichondra Silver Falls. And the reason I wanted to point that one out is I get a lot of people who have been planting sweet potato vines in their planters for years. And by maybe the middle of the summer, the sweet potato itself has overtaken everything else that's in there because the sweet potato literally forms a big tuber in the soil, which then crowds out the root system of everything else in there. It makes it difficult to water. I know I have had this experience many times because I do like the look of sweet potato vines. So I plant them and they look great at first, and then by midsummer, that potato has gotten so big in the soil that the soil has so much less water holding capacity, and the rest of my plants aren't looking so good as a result. So if you're looking for something that will give you that drapey effect without the problems that sweet potato vine has, you might consider something like the Dichondra Silver Falls. So really easy to grow, and it'll just keep on hanging down basically as far as we had a huge planter outside, a huge basket planter outside a couple of years back, and I think the Dichondra was like 6 feet long, you know, just hanging down, and it's a really neat look. So here's some more of those fired up Mandevilla, looking beautiful over here. They would like full sun. They can tolerate part sun, but full sun is ideal for them. This is the Mandevilla Bluphoria. So this won a bunch of awards there's a tropical plant show in Florida every year called TPIE, Tropical Plant Expo. This won a bunch of awards, and it's kind of a breakthrough in breeding because there's really never been a purple or blue Mandevilla prior to this. And so they call it Bluphoria. It is a large flowering variety. It is a heavy flowering variety. Even early in the season, there are buds all over the plant, really looking great. So if you like this color, or if you like Mandevilla and you've been looking for something in that kind of blue purpley color, this is pretty neat. Prior to this, they've always been basically white, red, and pink, more or less. There's been a few like yellowy colors that fired up that we looked at is kind of a novel variety with that bright orangey two-tone look. Very cool looking plant. So Bluphoria mandevilla. Wanted to introduce you to a plant that perhaps some people are not familiar with. If you've lived in a warmer part of the country, you may be familiar with it because this is a perennial in most parts of the country, but or in some warmer parts. It's a zone 6-7 hardy plant. It is called a Cape fuchsia. So here it's marginally hardy. If you plant this in the ground, it might actually come back. I planted one last year in kind of a protected location near the house. It is coming back. I only see 1 or 2 little sprouts right now. So we'll see if it actually makes a decent sized plant or whether it had too much root damage or frost damage that it, that I only end up with 1 little sprig or something like that. But this is a great hummingbird plant. It's available in multiple colors. You can obviously see this sort of corally orange color right here. And then we've got this one right here, which is the deep red, which is very cool. So these flowers are closed, these are open, and then the hummingbird can kind of get inside there. So very cool little plants. And we've been doing regular fuchsia for years, with the kind of that cool upside down flower look to it. And this has been kind of a nice offering. I started growing them last year for fun and really liked it, and a lot of people were asking about it, so we put it into production, and we're growing these in-house. So kind of a cool plant. Speaking of great plants for hummingbirds and other pollinators, this whole table to my left here is lantana, another plant that is perennial in other parts of the country. My grandparents and my parents both lived in North Carolina. This is a perennial there. I used to see it in the landscape all the time. Big, 3 foot by 3 foot mounds of beautiful flowers. And they will not get that big here, but they will bloom like crazy. So if we look at a few of these hanging baskets that we have that are a little further advanced, you can see how many flowers are on there. And it's hard to see, but in the center of the flower is actually a little throat, basically. And so that's where the hummingbird will go in and find its nectar. So cool little flowers available in a lot of colors. These are very, very heat tolerant, very sun tolerant. They're available in yellows, oranges, pinks, and even a little bit of kind of purpley colors. So I love lantana for the pollinators. They are not invasive at all in our area. They will not reseed themselves. They're not going to go crazy or do anything. So it's a good, safe plant to be using in pots or even in the ground in your landscape if you're looking for that real good pop of color. So now we're outside. As I mentioned, it's cool. It's going to be down to 39 tonight, which is absolutely nothing for cold crop vegetables. So if you haven't already, get those cold crops outside. You're always better with them in the ground when the soil is cool and the temps are cool. So your cabbages, kales, lettuce, kohlrabi, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cabbage, I think I mentioned that, cauliflower, all of those are perfectly safe to be planting right now, even if we get some 30-degree nights or frost, which as of right now, there's absolutely nothing like that in the forecast. Spinach would be another good one. So all of those are perfectly safe to plant right now, as is the rhubarb over here. So rhubarb is a perennial plant in our area. So you've got these big red stems, obviously edible, great for baking and all sorts of great stuff, drinks, cocktails, all sorts of things. And then strawberries over here. We do our strawberries in-house. We bring in bare root plants. We pot them up early in the spring or maybe even late winter, I guess. And we get those planted up. So nice, big, healthy plants already blooming and setting fruit. So those are Wasco grown. We grow all of our Wasco grown herbs, all of our Wasco grown veggies and fruit, things like this. All of them are grown herbicide-free, pesticide-free. As I've mentioned before in some of our videos, and if you've been in the store, I maybe have mentioned that, we are not a certified organic facility, so I can't stamp these certified organic or anything like that, but you can feel comfortable putting these in your garden knowing that we're not spraying them with who knows what as is the habit of a lot of growers in our industry, and certainly a lot of the stuff that's making its way to the box stores over the next couple of weeks and in the previous few weeks. A lot of that stuff is coming from who knows where, and there's really no saying what has been sprayed on that stuff. So again, you can feel really comfortable here at Wasco with our herbs and veggies. So this is our herb and vegetable house. Nice and warm in here today, no wind, but the plant material is coming along really, really nicely. Again, our homegrown veggies like this right here, this is a big beef tomato. You can see that nice thick stem. That's one of the things you're gonna find with our tomatoes versus a lot of what's out there. We are trying to grow these slowly, and what I mean by that is we kept this house pretty cool. We have roll-up sides on the side of the house, and so we were growing these as cool as we could over the last few weeks. What that does is it helps create a shorter, stockier plant to start, where it can develop that thicker stem. I've seen just popping into the grocery store, popping into the hardware store a couple days ago. I was looking for a bracket and walked into Home Depot, and they had tomatoes that were probably almost this tall, but the whole entire stem was maybe the diameter of this little branch right here. And there's no way that plant is going to hold up very well in the garden. I mean, maybe if you tried to grow it on for a few weeks inside, but the second you get that outside, it's going to be unstable and not hold up great. So our tomatoes are looking great. Sheila is our greenhouse manager, Coco and her team, all of them are just doing a great job out here. So the tomato section is, or selection I should say, is fantastic right now. So it's the perfect time to be shopping for tomatoes. I would probably wait 1 week to plant my tomatoes. I think you could probably get away with it right now if you're in northern Illinois, but it would be better to wait a week until the ground temps come up a little bit. That's one of the things that people don't always consider when they're thinking about, they look at the forecast and they say, there's no frost in the forecast, I'm ready to plant. But the fact of the matter is our ground is still quite cool here right now based on that mild weather that we've been having that I mentioned earlier. The ground temps haven't risen quite as high as we'd like to see for, say, something like a tomato or some of your annuals. So perhaps it's time to shop. Keep them in their pot, put them out on the deck or patio or whatever for the time being, and then maybe give them a week before you plant. I for sure would wait on your even warmer weather loving things like our peppers. So the peppers are looking great. They're coming along really nicely, but this is definitely another week or even 2 weeks for peppers. Peppers really like it warm. They like very warm soil, and there is absolutely no benefit and a lot of downfall for planting peppers too early. That cold weather causes a stunting of the growth habit or the growth process, and it just doesn't want to root out very well. It doesn't want to grow vertically, so it really kind of sets the plant back several weeks when you do that. So definitely best to leave those either in a pot and grow them in the pot fully, or wait another couple of weeks and then put them in the ground. On the back wall over here, we've got our herb selection. So you can see our Wasco grown herbs over here, like our basil, looks absolutely fantastic. Again, trying to keep this house a little on the cool side so that we're not causing excessive early growth. The other thing that does is it creates a little bit better branching structure on these plants, so they really look great. This is Thai basil right here. We have Siam Queen. We've got sweet basil. There's several others in here, so lots to choose from there. And the really nice, healthy looking plants, and again, herbicide free, pesticide free, and we try to grow them a little slower and end up with a really solid plant that way. We'll take a walk in the back here. One of the requests that we've been getting over the years, and we've been trying to do more and more of these, are nasturtium. Nasturtium are an edible plant. The flowers are edible on these. A lot of people like to use them as a garnish on a drink or plate. Kind of has a sort of peppery flavor to it when you munch on them, but they're also really cool looking plants. So they've got sort of a almost a lotus-like leaf in my opinion. It's kind of a cool leaf texture and leaf shape. So neat plants, and then they have typically orange or yellow flowers, although there are other varieties out there. But nasturtium are kind of a fun one, and if you're looking for edible plants for your patio, that would be a really good choice. We've got all sorts of fun stuff for edible plants on the patio. We've got some pineapples. Obviously very tropical, not going to survive the winter here, but makes a great patio plant. And then at the end of the year, you can harvest that pineapple off of there, just like a pineapple from the store. So kind of cool. The other thing that you're definitely going to want to wait on is this section right here. Again, I'd say maybe grab them now, but wait to plant at least another week or two. These are all the cucurbits, and so this is your cucumbers and zucchini and squashes, all of that kind of stuff. This is another one that definitely A, doesn't like cold weather, and B, doesn't like cool soil on its roots. So not something that you're going to want to take home and plant today. But if you've got specific varieties that you're looking for, maybe now is the time to come in and grab those so that you're not missing out on the variety you want. We do seed multiple crops with these, so we're kind of seeding like every 2 weeks at this time of year, or have been. So like this was seeded actually we can look at, so this one right here was seeded on April 2nd. So just kind of give you an idea. So it's been exactly a month basically since that was seeded. It's sprouting nicely right there, and these are nice and happy and healthy plants. Not everything has this because sometimes we run out of tags, but the other, I just wanted to kind of point this out. So this is an Armenian cucumber. This is what the front of the tag looks like. But if you flip it over, you're going to see right down here, grown by Wasco Nursery and Garden Center, meeting your growing needs since 1925. And yeah, 1925. So we are celebrating our 100th anniversary here at Wasco Nursery. You're going to want to mark your calendars for the first weekend in June. I should be looking at a calendar to tell you, but I think it's the 6th and 7th. We're having kind of an anniversary celebration weekend, so there's going to be some fun happenings here at the Garden Center. I think we're going to have some music and some food and cake and raffle stuff and giveaways and some specials, and so should be a fun weekend. So if you're looking for something to do that weekend, if you want to come out and help us celebrate, especially if you've been a long-time customer, we love our first-time customers as well. If you worked here in the past, 100 years, we've got a lot of past employees. We'd love to see some past employees in the store as well. So that's the first weekend in June will be our anniversary celebration weekend. Off to my right, we've got some of our beautiful, well, I guess these are petunias here. I'm looking at the geraniums, some of our beautiful geranium baskets. The geraniums are looking fantastic this year. There's a ton of colors to choose from. Honestly, I've always loved geranium baskets. I think they're one of the easier to grow, long blooming variety. They do need to be deadheaded. If you are unfamiliar with geraniums, let's see if I can find a spent flower, and if not, we'll just have to sacrifice a flower. The greenhouse team is way ahead of me. There's no spent flowers on here, so we're going to sacrifice a flower. So I'm just going to kind of show you right over here. So when I say a spent flower, what that means is that these flower buds, which have yet to open, and these obviously are open, but a spent flower, all of those have basically fallen off or turned brown, and the stem is starting to turn brown typically. And on a geranium, all you need to do is go right to the base here. So right there. And you basically just grab it and snap it off, just like that. So that's how you deadhead a geranium. And if we look back in this spot again, you're going to see I deadheaded here, and then right above there is going to be the next flower bud. So that's just starting. And when you remove those dead flowers, it improves the look both aesthetically, but also allows the plant to put more effort into reblooming. This is true of a lot of annual plants, but just plants in general. When you leave the spent flowers, oftentimes they're putting energy into creating seeds. And so when you deadhead them and remove that spent flower or seed head or whatever might be forming, you give it the ability, if it is a reblooming plant, to keep blooming. So that's how you deadhead a geranium. We'll take one more walk outside, show you a couple other things. Guess we could stop here. If you are short on space, if you have a patio that you don't have an area for a garden, we have these patio tomatoes that we do in this nice little caged planter here, so you can kind of see that. But these do not need to be planted in the ground. So you can just plant this right out on the patio, or put this out on the patio, front porch, wherever you have a sunny location. I have some clients who don't have a lot of sun, and so they have to move their plant around. You could do that very easily with something like this. So we do that with jalapenos and a bush variety patio type tomato. So that kind of makes it nice and easy. All right, the blooming phlox are just coming into, the creeping phlox are just coming into bloom right now. These are a perennial favorite. They are a perennial plant, so they will come back every year. There are many colors available. Emerald blue right here is typically the most popular, but Fort Hill and Scarlet Flame, some of the brighter pink colors, are very popular. Emerald pink has always been a good one. So really nice, easy to grow plants. They're basically a ground cover, so they're very short plants. They look great in borders. They look great in like a rock garden. Just a really nice plant, but they're going to give you a massive pop of color. When these are hardy and happy and well established, when they're in bloom, you basically won't see any green foliage. You'll just see flowers all the way across the top. So very striking. We've got an area planted way out by the road, and that's something that people stop in and ask about on a regular basis. They're like, hey, what's that blue plant out there? We have the emerald blue variety out there. Fruit. Our fruit crops are looking fantastic. We've got blueberries and raspberries and grapes and just about every other blooming or fruiting plant that will grow in northern Illinois. We're a zone 5. Sometimes we have a zone 4 winter, but we're kind of a zone 5 here. So we are able to do a lot of the fruiting plants. So not all grapes will grow here, but some will grow here. So lots to choose from on that front. And now is for sure the time to get that stuff in the ground. And I just wanted to swing around over here and show you a couple of big custom planters that our greenhouse team, this is Nicole's handiwork here. So these are some planters that are going to be going to a local business. These are, we pick up the plants or pick up the containers from the business. We get these all potted up. We're going to grow them on here for just a little bit, and then we will get these delivered back to the restaurant or store or whatever it might be. We do some banks, we do some an attorney's office, we do restaurants, all sorts of stuff. So if we also do homes. So if you've got some large planters like this and you want somebody to come out and do that, we actually have on our website, there's a custom container form that you can kind of fill it out, submit it, and then someone will get back to you with some, you know, kind of pricing and arrangements and stuff like that. So cool process, but Nicole's creativity is endless, so she's very good at this stuff. In fact, she has a class today, this morning, where she's teaching people how to make these custom containers. We've been advertising that for a while on our website, Facebook, Eventbrite, all that kind of stuff. So she'll be teaching you how to do that. If you have not attended one of our classes in the past, we have classes on all sorts of stuff, workshops on all sorts of stuff, from creating your spring flowering planters to holiday planters at the after Thanksgiving or around Thanksgiving time for Christmas. We do classes on native plant material, on tree and shrub pruning. We do them on all sorts of stuff. So if you are unfamiliar with that, check out our website or our Eventbrite page, where we'll kind of post that stuff on a regular basis. But for sure, if you're not already, look for a little tab on our website that says VIG Club. Join the VIG Club. VIG stands for Very Important Gardener. Maybe a little cheesy, but very cool. We do not sell our mailing list to anyone at all, and we try not to flood your inbox with stuff, but we'll let you know about sales, specials, classes. But then, of course, we're big on education here, so we're trying to put some of that out into our mail program as well. So, we'll send you, a plant of the week and give you some bullet points and a little information on how to use this plant. I post some of our videos, shorter format videos, if there's a problem like a magnolia scale or boxwood leaf miner, things like that. We'll embed those videos on the email and send them out. So lots of good information for you there. So again, if you're not already following us via the email club, check it out. Join the VIG club. It's on basically almost every page on our website, so you can find that there. So as always, I love being with you on a beautiful spring morning, and I love talking plants. So if you have any questions, post them in the comment section. We try to get back to you as soon as we can, but of course I'd love to see you in person too. So stop by the garden center. We are here 7 days a week, all the way until 4th of July. We'll be closed 4th of July, and then we are open 7 days a week until Thanksgiving. So we are a year-round garden center. We are here year-round, but we just have a couple of those holidays. Otherwise, we're here 7 days a week. So come on by, stop, see us. We've got a great team of people in the garden center who can help you find plant material, search for things. We do special orders if there's stuff that you're looking for that you can't find here, which is hard to believe, but every once in a while there's something that we don't have in stock, and we'll try to find it for you. So hope to see you here in the garden center soon.